You want to see aspects of aging. Well, I earned my stripes, but you know what? I earned them before I turned 21. So, aspects of aging, I mean, it's very counterintuitive. It should be that I should be saying, be careful. Aspects of aging are this way. Please take this detour. Stay away from them. Don't come face to face with them. You just keep, you know, move along, citizens. Nothing to see here. And we're going to we're going to understand, we're going to acknowledge and face three of them today. I think I'm talking really loud. I must be very enthusiastic. So I'm going to just make sure that I answer the question, my answer to the question from the last episode. So that question was, during the tightest lockdown, shutdown of 2020, who who broke it open for you, or who made efforts that you admired to make the shutdown less constrictive? I can think of two: my husband here on the Pacific coast of the United States, and his social media friend in Ireland, Dublin, Ireland. They actually started a business networking group before there was any real concern, as far as in the US, as far as a pandemic. And business people were coming together, discussing their own personal life situations. And at the same time, they were interconnecting as business people and sharing information and what's working and, how's it going? It was great. It is the way that business should be: collaboration versus, um, yeah, always fighting, always trying to grab that last nickel. So the other person that I think of is Maury Voicey Barlin. Maury in the UK was using markers that you would write on a car saying just married or going to state, proud parent of number 14 on the high school team. He used those at the windows outside of nursing homes and drew and acted things out and, peeked through his drawings and traced hands of people who were so very, very isolated. So, yay for those guys. I want to make sure that I do not put this out, this first aspect that I'm talking about today. I want to make sure that I don't put it out as being snarky or sarcastic or whatever. What I noticed being an in-home caregiver was that some of my people would tell me an exciting, maybe a very happy story, and would end it emotionless, not sad, not in mourning, but just dealing with the fact again. Of course, they're all dead now. And I thought about how this person, they had family around them. They didn't seem to be depressed. But as they were talking, I got the impression, possibly, that this person was breathing life back into people they hadn't seen in decades. They were not part of their own life. It might even have been someone on TV. But at the end, they reminded themselves they've this was all in the past. At this point, I'm one of the few who is still living. One of the people went on to say, just about everybody I know or I knew in any parts of my life are pretty much dead now. And I kept waiting for the tears or the sorrow or, those words of bereavement. Instead, it was more of a, "Oh, yes, yes, that's right. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and take care of this right now." That hit me in that time, in that moment. I thought, "Well, this is bad. I want to distract them from this." However, that may be just one of the coping mechanisms, one of the ways to make sure I'm not losing track of reality. Another aspect of aging, I know how old I am, but when do I know that I am actually old? When do I step into that category? Have I already stepped into that category? Do I determine that? Do the people around me determine that? Do I go jumping back and forth depending on the demographic around me or how much I'm contributing or what I look like today or what I sound like? I attended a virtual online presentation. Ken Dykewald, he is head honcho at AgeWave. And he said that, and he showed a photograph. We're talking black and white, probably printed on tin, a black and white photo of a gentleman who first wrote down that the age at which we become old is 65. It reminded me that my husband and I went to a cemetery. We knew someone who was buried there. We looked around. I guess you would say it was an old cemetery. It wasn't really being kept up very much. There was lots of moss on these big monuments. So I guess I think of it as kind of an antique area of interment. And I started doing the math, and I looked at the numbers on each side of the hyphen. And the difference between the two numbers was usually less than 50 years. I can see why there was an era where 65 was said with amazement, or was, well, you certainly can't expect to live to be 65. Most of those people died before their 50th birthday. And that was a local cemetery on the Pacific coast of the US. We haven't been doing cemeteries here for all that long. The third aspect of aging for this time is best friends for life, me and my oxygen hose. I'm going to say that I realize after having a discussion the other day that oxygen hoses are almost a moral dilemma. When do you start using one? It has to be prescribed. You don't just go down to the oxygen store and grab one because you feel like, that would be helpful. Although I notice that maybe in a mile-high city, when people are doing athletics, there is oxygen available. So is it medical? Is it comfort? Should you use it as little as possible to keep your body doing its own thing? Should you use it whenever you feel the need? Do you make a decision to go off and try to make it without? Do you use it only before or during or after activity? Or should you use it all the time so that your body is ready in case you need it to be active? A lot of questions to give to your doctor, a lot of questions that you need to decide as you continue to age. Is it quality of life? I saw a couple walking down the road as I was driving to my own mother's house, and one of them obviously had a little tank, and there was the hose. Boy, they were going And I just thought, that looks like quality of life to me. And it's not up to me if some other person says, if I can just make it to my great grandson's graduation day, it's worth it. It's worth it to sit still and breathe easy and just make it to that moment, even though I can't maybe even be there in person, just to know that I can hear the voice on the phone and ask a few questions. I can see the photographs. It is worth it to have this best friend ready for me at all times. It's something that I'm going to deal with in the future. It isn't just something that comes to you and it's like, well, I guess I better put this on, see how I feel. Oh, yeah, I like it. It's a decision. So here's the question for the next episode's answer. Again, you're going to come up with some answers. My answer will be different than yours, but it sure would be great if we accidentally fell upon the same answer, in a manner of speaking, because this question is about ageism. So go to the store, shop for birthday cards. Noticed, well, this is what I noticed, that I used to wonder, do I do an ageism quote? Is this person going to laugh, or can I rib this person about being over the hill, being older than dirt, being older than me? I've changed, obviously, through the years. I'm not really, I guess I'd say anti-ageism, as far as someone pointing to me and saying, yeah, I figured you were 62. You look 62. I figured you were somewhere between 62 and 70. If I'm going to, whoa, I better do something about that, take care of those symbols, those aspects of aging. Or do I just drink it in and say, good, I earned my stripes. I deserve to, be corrugated, to have that strength and flexibility of wrinkles. Do I celebrate it? Do I think they're being rude? Do I even talk about age? Do I say the word age? Old. Is that a bad word? Is that something that is worth discussing, how different people feel about it? But I do want you to look and see what kind of cards really seem to be, if they were reprinted as if they were translated in a different language, would someone turn to someone else and say, this card says old is bad and getting older is even worse? Take a peek at those. I think I'm going to actually take some pictures. Before I finish, I want to highlight a prompt, and that is number 9 in the Pre-Actor Age journal, a prompted journal with suggested answers, responses to the prompts. Number 9 is titled Intended Happier Outcomes. This is specifically for relationships, both emotional and relational outcomes and responses and reactions to aspects of aging are the reason, the concept behind pre-actor age. But number 9 really pinpoints the fact that your loved ones, your designated decision makers, people that you are close to or that feel some sort of responsibility for you as you age, How do they know your preferences if you don't tell them? So, intended happier outcomes having to do with your emotions and taking into account their emotional reactions to your aging because you have an importance in their life. What can you write? How can you record? What can you do ahead of time to let them know what you prefer? I would like to announce the next 3 aspects of aging for our next episode. One is happy old anniversary, pre-acting in reverse. Now, I am already taking our cultural norms of anti-aging and even anti-ageism. I'm already twisting it into a pretzel. And now I'm going to pop it inside out. There's going to be crumbs everywhere, but that's okay because we are coming up with something new together. This isn't just for me. This is for you as you approach aging or you're around people who are already well into the third of their life. The second one, it's your move. It's your move, but it is no game because you are going to need to give yourself a moving speech. The you that you are in the present is going to send a message to the you that you are going to be in your future and say, this is why I would want to move. This is how I want things to be moved. This is who I want moving in with me. This is how I want them moving in my life when I have needs that I cannot address. And the last one, outsourcing labor-intensive tasks because they are below your pay grade. Outsourcing labor-intensive tasks. It could be going into assisted living. It could be working smarter instead of harder. And it could be that you really want to keep some of that labor because it is how you live. It is who you are and how you express your being, even though it is becoming difficult and taking a lot of your energy. So more decisions to be made by you because you're taking the helm and you're navigating your continued living. So I am Christine A. Smith. Got that part right. I have created an Aging Better Network as a website full of lists. There are resources that would be helpful to anyone who's continuing to live. There are lists of words that you need to know. There are lists of recordings that will help you to think through, why am I doing this? And even get you accustomed to those aspects of aging. I've provided the agingbetternetwork.com for you because I am the aging enthusiast.